This your boy Daniel London Evans, and you are live inside the den with Storytime inside the den, and the next episode starts right now.
It's a video.
It's like this beat just singing.
Video. Turns out awesome.
Pain in my soul. Yeah. Pain in my soul, let it rain from my soul. Gotta find myself, that's the goal. Wrote myself a letter, that's from soul. All that shit, it came from my soul. Tryna find a way to let it go. But my diamond in the rough, but still a rough diamond. Pressure made me, I'm blowing up like I'm detonating. Found my passion, you can't separate me, yeah, I'm levitating. I know you thought you knew me, but I promise you ain't know me. And even if you knew me, I ain't nothing like the old me.
So tonight I'm going to be telling a story that is that's near and dear to my heart. It is a story of a mental health story. Also going to be touching on some bullying issues, and I know that a lot of kids right now deal with being bullied at school. And so from the Lion's Den himself, I'm going to be telling you about the time that I was bullied in school and how I handled that. And so tonight's story is going to be just called simply being bullied as a kid. So a lot of times you see people, successful people in your life, you very seldom see where they started from the beginning. And a lot of people have had, trouble past and things like that. And I'm somebody who has always been very timid, very shy. I'm actually a natural introvert. People don't believe it right now because of all the things they see me doing. They always assume that I've always been this confident. They've always assumed that I've always been this, this aggressive and things like that. But the truth is, coming up in school, I was a target of being bullied for quite some time. And it started when my dad was end up being a minister in the church. And as a preacher's kid, you don't always get a chance to hang out with the other kids because your parents trying to raise you a certain way. And being a preacher's kid, it always seemed like it always attracted people that would hate and be, mean toward me and my brothers and sisters. But I remember as a young age, my dad being a minister, he would always tell us as Christians that we had to turn the other cheek. And so when I was a very impressionable young kid, my dad would have to really break things down for me because I was very literal. If my dad told me to do something, I would actually do it and not really have a whole lot of, didn't really have a whole lot of understanding sometimes. And it would be literally what he would tell me to do sometimes. And so my dad would tell us to turn the other cheek. And so right around the time I was in the 7th grade, which was the time where I actually started to gain some popularity or just gain friends, period. Coming up as a child in elementary school, I had the ugly duckling syndrome. You're going to hear me refer to that throughout these story times inside the den, because that's where I was as a kid. Didn't have a whole lot of kids that was my friends. Wasn't really popular with girls in school because they always thought that I was quote unquote ugly duckling. In the early 80s, I was the blackest thing, going. I was blacker than Wesley Snipes, and I didn't get a whole lot of respect because of, just how I looked. Had gap teeth in my mouth. People didn't think that was attractive back then. Being dark skinned, it wasn't very attractive until the early 90s, where Wesley Snipes came out with New Jack City, and he made it cool to be dark skinned. So, with that being said, I didn't really have a whole lot of friends at that time. So when in elementary school, I was kind of chunky kid. My dad had a very good job and he fed us well. So I, kind of got a little chunky around the 5th and 6th grade, and people would pick on me and all this kind of stuff. And the summer of my 6th grade going to my 7th grade year, I had a growth spurt. I remember I was around the house that summertime, and how parents say this boy gonna eat us out of house and home. And I was just always hungry all the time. And then so the start of the 7th grade year, we had, I just went to, just coming into junior high, being around older kids, not really being sheltered by the teachers, but you in a whole new world. I remember my dad taking me to the football coach. And he said, this boy here is eating me out of house and home. And I need to find a place for him on your team so he can do something with himself, because he just got so much going on at the house that I need him to be able to take all his energy and put it to some kind of use. So we was very mild-mannered, really humble kids, me and my brothers and sisters. And I remember this guy, I don't know if he's still living or not. If you are watching this video, you know what I'm saying, I pray that you are well. But his name was Quincy Jones. And not the music mogul Quincy Jones, but his guy was named Quincy. And for some reason, I don't know why he didn't like me. Maybe he was jealous. Maybe he had a broken home. I don't know what the deal was, but I remember going to PE, and we had to have our gym shorts and t-shirts and stuff to participate in gym. And I remember coming from gym back and forth from that period to the next period. He would always try to confront me and want to mess with me and stuff like that. Now, he never take my lunch money or nothing like that. That was for younger kids, whatever. But he did, have some run-ins with me. And I had these friends that was in a neighborhood that was down the street, Aaron Thompson and Andre Fowler. These little light-skinned boys that I used to be friends with. We played football in the hood, in the streets, and we became very good friends. I think they was from Philadelphia. So I wanted to say shout outs to Aaron Thompson and Andre Fowler, and Dimitri Bazile was my guys. That was kind of like my core group of guys I dealt with in the 7th grade. And I remember, we was going from PE across the street. Now, I went to Central Junior High, which is a school now. It has been turned to a federal building, and I have a story for that as well later on. But during this time, it was a junior high school, and for the ones who live in Gulfport, the Gulfport School District, Central Junior High, 7th, 8th, and 9th grade, and then you go to Gulfport High School, which is the school that Chris Jackson went to, which now he's known as Adu Rauf. Played professional NBA basketball, but he got his start at Gulfport High. So, but he went to Central Junior High as well. He's a little older than me, but during this time, this guy Quincy would try to bother me after PE, because we had to walk across the street to the gym and then go to our next classes, inside the school. And I remember this one day, he approached me, and he wasn't a very big guy, but you know how you have these guys that's from the hood that might sell drugs, or might have a lot of friends and stuff like that. So he wasn't really a big guy, and it wasn't that I was scared of him. It's just that growing up in the house of a minister and a preacher, we wasn't taught to really fight back. We was taught to turn the other cheek. And so the difference between me being in elementary school in 6th grade to going to the 7th grade in junior high is I discovered lifting weights. And so I went from being an ugly duckling in elementary to when I showed up on campus at the 7th grade, a lot of people had seen that I had changed. I wasn't that same chunky little kid no more. I had muscles. I had a chest. I started lifting weights pretty heavy. And so I wanted to do something with myself, whether it was just, just work out and just kind of learn how to fight, things like that. And so this guy would bother me, and I could rip him apart if I wanted to, but people, kind of mistake your meekness as being weak. The difference between meek and weak is meekness is called controlled strength, meaning that you have the power to devour somebody, but you yield to what's right. And my dad would always tell us these things, and it would always just play in my head when I would get faced with a situation. I would listen to the voice of my father as like a guideline to navigate through certain situations. So I had the Holy Spirit, but I also had the voice of my father playing in my head in all these different situations. So this guy came to me one day on this particular day, and he called me a name, start with a B, ended with a itch, and called me a punk and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, really didn't know what his problem with me was. And I remember my guys was with me, man. We used to walk, together from the thing. And then I remember he called my name and said, "Hey, you a itch, you a punk." And I said, "No, I'm not." You respond to people, but I was trying to ignore him. The first time I ignored him, I just kept walking. He was calling my name, and my guy was like, "Hey, man, just keep walking, bro. Ignore this dude. You know what I'm saying? Leave him, don't bother him. Leave him alone. Just keep walking." And so I was like, okay. I just kept walking, so I ignored him. And he was calling out, "Hey, you heard me calling your name. Come back here." Just kept walking. So he ended up running, and he pulled on my book bag. I had my book bag on my back. I was walking. He pulled on it, and I kind of pulled back a little bit. And you hear me calling you? And then when I turned around and faced him, I'm like, "Man, what's up? What you want?" And he said, "I said you a itch." And I'm like really what? What? No response to him. And then I remember him hitting me in my jaw, hit me in my right jaw. Bow. Everybody like, "Ooh," in the crowd. And I remember my dad saying, "Turn the other cheek. Turn the other cheek. We don't fight. We try to talk our problems out." And I've told this story several times in church, when I was teaching, Bible study or Sunday school. And he hit me on my right jaw, and in very Christ-like fashion, listen to my father, I turned to him my other cheek, thinking that if I take a shot, maybe he'll leave me alone. Turned the other cheek, and this sapsucker, that's a word I got from my dad, this sapsucker hits me in my other cheek. So he hauled off and hit me in my other cheek. So he hit me in my right cheek. I turned the other cheek, hit me in my left cheek, hit me again, bam. And now everybody's like, "Ooh, what you gonna do? You gonna do something? You gonna do something back?" And my friend was like, "Man, y'all leave my boy alone, blah, 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 leave him alone. You a punk, leave him alone. Why you messing with him? Why you picking on him? Because he's a punk, whatever." And so I ended up walking away from him. And, that kind of was, it really hurt me on the inside, because I'm thinking that when you turn the other cheek, that people are going to automatically just leave you alone. But come to find out, that was just an invitation for him to hit me in the other cheek. And so I went home crying to my dad. Seventh grade. I think I was like maybe, I don't know, between 12 and 13 years old. I don't remember exactly how old I was. And your dad, your parents come home and say, "How was your day at school?" and all that kind of stuff. And I just didn't say nothing that day. I was too hurt. My pride was too hurt. I was too hurt. Didn't say anything. And he was like, he used to call me Bo. "Come here, Bo. What's up, Bo? How was your day?" Just like, "It wasn't that good, man." And he was like, "What's going on? What happened?" Nothing. It just wasn't that good. And I just really wouldn't tell him what was going on. But you know how parents just keep pressing, and keep pressing. Wait, what's going on? Talk to me. Everything good at school? And I told my dad, I said, man, you got me beat up at school today. How did I get you beat up at school? I wasn't even there. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, man, because, man, you talking all this turn the other cheek stuff, man, and nonviolent and all this Martin Luther King stuff, man. And I got beat up at school today. What happened? So I'm telling him the story of, the guy was bullying me, messing with me. And then I end up, he hit me in my right jaw, and then I turned the other cheek, hit me in my left jaw, and I said all because I was trying to not to get suspended for one. I didn't want to, embarrass my parents by fighting. For two, and I just said, how can you live life and go through all this stuff as a Christian and blah, 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 and you can't fight and you're getting beat up and all this kind of. Now everybody think I'm a punk. Everybody think I can't fight. They think I'm weak. And you already know that when you were, put on public display like that, and if you are, it's like if one bullying you and you don't do nothing back, then all of a sudden all the other bullies gonna come and try to, mess with you because they know you ain't gonna fight back. So my daddy sat me down and was like, who is the little boy? I told him who the boy was. And he was like, well, maybe he got some issues at home that he can't deal with, and he saw you as an easy target and all that. And I'm just looking at him like, man, this is not cool, because I don't have to go back to school every day and have this boy, bothering me. You know what I mean? And then he said, you tell the teacher. No, I ain't tell the teacher. I ain't trying to be no snitch. I don't want to cause more problems, because everybody knows if you a snitch, they say snitches get what? Don't worry, I'll wait. So I learned a hard lesson that day that, sometimes turning the other cheek is not the best option, because you give people opportunities to take advantage of you. And, I was hurt. My pride was hurt. And then, and it wasn't just because that was a one-time incident. I can remember back when I was a little younger, maybe in, 5th or 6th grade, living in a neighborhood, Johnson Drive. I had a friend of mine named Marcus and another friend of mine named Sean. We would be in the, playing football and stuff like that. And it was just one of these girls that used to live in the neighborhood named Princess. Princess was a tomboy, and she used to hang out with us, and we done played football. We done played all these different games in the streets in the hood and things like that. And I remember me and my buddy Marcus was together, and we would just just kind of how guys do, talk trash about other people and just kind of jawing on people, stuff like that. And I remember, she was about, a good foot taller than me in the 5th and 6th grade. So, I mean, she was just a big old girl, big girl. I was short, so she was tall. And I remember talking about her behind her back to my buddy, not thinking it was gonna go anywhere. And I told my buddy, I said her mama named her Princess when she should have been named Prince, because she's just a ugly girl. And I said her mom must have been drunk when she named her. And we all laughed, we chuckled it up, laughed it up. My buddy, we laughed it up. And so I thought that was the end of it. A week later, I don't know if he was screwing her or not. I don't know. I don't know if he was, had some kind of relationship with her or whatever. But he was about a year and a half older than me. So, kids was having sex at a young age back in the day. And so I remember like a week later, we was all playing, and we was in his yard, in his backyard. And she kind of snuck me from the side and started me. And when she hit me, she put me in a chokehold. And I'm like this because, once again, My dad's a minister, and not only do he believe in turning the other cheek and not fighting nonviolent, but he always taught me as a kid, not to put my hands on women and girls. So I couldn't fight this girl, and so she was choking me out, and she said, "What you said smart about me, the N word, nigga or whatever." My mom was what when she named me? She was drunk. I'll bust you up. And I'm like, okay, whatever, let me go. And she said, don't never talk about me again or whatever. Talk about my mama. I F you up. So I'm looking at my friend like, really? You told this girl what I said? And we was like, man, I'm like, man, come on, man. So I go home to my daddy, like, hey, man, I just got beat. I just got jumped. You know how the story always changes when you tell it to other people. I just got beat up by Princess. And I'm confused at this point because, you told me not to fight girls, but I just got beat up. And my daddy said, you got beat up by who? And he was like, Princess. Boy, that big old girl, you ought to knock the hell out of her. I'm like, well, how you going to tell me this now, but didn't tell me this before? So that was a form of bullying because, she could have came to me and talked to me and we could have hashed it out or whatever. And got an understanding. But because she didn't choose to, she wanted to fight because she was, upset and offended by what I said. So that was really what started. And then a few years later, going to junior high, and this guy Quincy, wanted to fight me and stuff like that. So sometimes you can't choose your path in life. You kind of just put into a situation, a role. Where people are very negative and people are jealous-hearted about certain things, and so I just always had to deal with that, and so what my defense mechanism was to lift more weights, to get stronger, and I wanted to be more intimidating so people wouldn't have a free shot at me and things like that. But I developed I developed a bond with those guys around me. Them seeing me not retaliate against this guy, in most cases you might think that it'll make your person looks weak, but in this case, me not retaliating really showed them how strong I was because they knew at that moment, that I was able to handle my own business, handle myself. But after that happened, I'm gonna tell you what happened. After that incident happened and that guy, bullied me and I didn't hit him back, they made it their business just on their own to kind of have my back. So anybody after that would have any type of beef with me, they will automatically jump in. Hey, this my boy, this my partner. You want to fight him? You got to fight all of us. And it kind of came a rally around that situation where all these guys, all these boys that I was dealing with at the time, Malcolm Pendleton, Aaron, Andre, Demetrius, Chris Jones, a lot of other couple of guys. Anytime they would see something happening, they would automatically jump in and they would take my weight, like my lightweight, and they would kind of fight my battles. And it even went on until I got into the night. After that, 7th and 8th grade at that school, I had another girl who tried something with me once. I was really particular about my head, and I had a high top fade at the time, and she went from behind a bookcase or something and found this comb that had been like infested with I don't know, just nasty looking doggone comb. And she came toward me to try to put this comb in my head, and I snapped. And everybody saw me get ready to snap, and they kind of gravitated around me. Ended up like shielding her from getting toward me with one hand, kind of pushed her, and then just in anger, I just kind of picked up a freaking desk and threw it in her direction. Ended up getting suspended for that incident. But after that, everything that happened after that, it was all like these guys would just rally around me, try to make sure that I wasn't getting no kind of trouble. And then so my dad and my mom ended up, my dad actually got hurt at work, worked at the Ingalls shipyard for 25 plus years. Around this time, he had got hurt from his job. and he was working on a settlement. They had paid him a bunch of money for being hurt. He took his money, invested into building a house in the county. So I had to leave the school that I had, grown to love and kind of, grew up in, to go to the county schools where nobody really knew me. Harrison Central ninth grade. I was a new guy all over again, going into that school, and I ended up meeting some new friends, and I picked up the development name of LT. They called me Lawrence Taylor. Played defensive football and stuff like that, and then I ended up becoming one of the strongest guys on the team. Had me working out with the high schoolers. In the ninth grade, I was working out with the 10th, 11th, and 12th graders. I was on junior varsity, but I was actually working out with the varsity guys. I was in the 1,000-pound club. The 1,000-pound club was I had a 325-pound bench max. I was 15 years old at the time. Was squatting 500 pounds and deadlifting the rest. And so everybody started respecting me more because they knew that I was doing some things that no other freshman was able to do at that time. And then so go from 9th grade to 10th grade, and just started developing a kind of a reputation on campus as being, a humble guy, strong. So everybody always relate being strong as being able to fight real well. So I didn't have to do a whole lot of fighting at all. Matter of fact, I didn't get into another fight until my 11th grade year, which was an incident where this guy, I think his first name was Tony. I don't know his last name. Might be Johnson. I don't know. But he was jealous of me for some reason. And I told the story before where I met my high school sweetheart, Gina Marie. I think that he might have liked her or something like that, but she, wanted me and picked me out of the crowd and wanted me. And so instead of him coming to me, talking to me about his issue, he wanted to fight me. And I remember being in the field house in 11th grade. Some kind of way he got my attention, and I'm just a germophobic at this time. Never had any type of homosexual tendencies, so I'm just that kind of dude. But he had wanted to fight me, and he called me a bitch. Called me a bitch. And when he pronounced the word with the bitch, a piece of spit flew from his mouth and landed on my bottom lip. One of the reasons why we in Wilmington right now is looking for potential areas to film a particular upcoming project that we're working on. And if this place if this place wins the bet, then you'll be seeing this in an up and coming project. So y'all stay tuned, pay attention, look at the area, because you're going to see a lot coming from Soulful Design and Lions Pride. That freaking drop of spit came toward me, man, and I'm looking at that thing the whole time it's coming toward me. I focused in and honed in on that piece of spit. That piece of spit landed on my bottom lip. And I can tell you that it felt like when it landed on my lip, it felt like I can smell his stinking breath on that piece of spit. I felt like the spit was like acid, because it felt like it was burning my bottom lip the moment it landed on my lip. And I was freaking flabbergasted that this guy had the audacity to spit on my darn lip by saying the word. I don't know if he meant it on purpose, or some people just talk crazy and they spit when they talk. But when he did that, oh my God, I drew back on him. And as I'm drawing back on him, I began to throw a punch. And about 6 of my teammates snatched me up, caught me in mid-swing, and grabbed my arm and grabbed my legs. I felt like Bird in the Midnight Falcons on Fire Heartbeat, how they grabbed them and pulled them back. And I'm like this trying to fight, and they had me. And it was like No, 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 Emmett. By this time, I had developed a new nickname. They call me Baby Emmett, you know, and I was the one of the star running backs on the team. Me alongside Malcolm Pendleton, Derek Debo, they call him Debo, Derek Williams, and Kate Daddy. Was one of the guys that was in the backfield that shared the backfield with me, and those guys, 6'8" guys, man, grabbed me and snatched me up, and it was like, no, 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 Emmett, if you hit this guy, you're gonna kill him. He ain't worth it. He ain't worth it. We need you, man. We need you for the team. Don't do it. Don't do it. So they snatched me up, and as they pulling me back like Bird and the Midnight Falcons, got my hands all tied up. I can't swing. I can't kick or nothing like that. This joker, back to my daddy, this sap sucker, all right? He runs up while they got me hemmed up and sneaks me. Bam! And I'm like, oh my God. Now I'm really mad because not only did this guy spit on my lip, not only did I smell this joker's bad breath on that ounce of spit on my lip, not only did my body started to flare up because this guy had done violated me. Now, because they done snatched me up and started pulling me back, this joker got a free lick on me. And I snapped back to 7th grade when Quincy, you know what I'm saying, hit me and turned the other cheek. But I ain't trying to turn the other cheek. I'm tired of folks messing with me. I'm tired of folks effing with me. And I'm like, no, I'm mad. I'm mad, mad, mad. So then the coach come out, Coach Taylor, you know, come out and say, what's going on? I'm like, man, coach. And now I'm really like, you know, like about to start crying. Like, hey, I'm in here minding my own business. And this dude roll up on me and called me a bitch and spit on my god doggone lip. And I'm getting ready to snatch him because I was at this point I was stronger in 11th grade than I was in 9th grade. So imagine if I was in a 1,000-pound club at 15 years old, at 17 years old, it was like freaking Hercules on a Chihuahua. That's kind of what the comparison was. This guy was on the team, but he wasn't good enough to start, so he was a bench warmer. And I guess because everybody was praising, you know, Baby Emmett and all that kind of stuff, this joker just didn't like it and was mad because, you know, this girl liked me and all this kind of stuff. But understand that as a child, I really didn't have a whole lot of attention from people. So I wasn't even used to even being liked and stuff. So it was very new to me. And I would just be very shy, very humble. Didn't want folks, you know, bother me, you know, give me a hard time and stuff. And he was like, calm down, Emmett, calm down. You know good and well if you touch this boy, you're going to kill him. And I'm like, well, why is he bothering me, coach? If you feel like somebody would kill you, why do you want to go poke the bear? Why do you want to go poke the lion? And he's like, you don't know what he got going on at home. He might be going through a hard time. I know that he, you know, his mother's a single mother. You know, his daddy in prison gave me the story. But you don't need to destroy your character by trying to prove a point because we all know that you can beat him down. Then this sapsucker had the nerve to go around the school telling everybody he beat me up. Not cool. Now I got folks trying me that wasn't normally trying me because they feel like this guy got, you know, he done told everybody he beat me up. And so coach told me, handle it at practice. Oh, okay. Handle it at practice. Got you. We're going to put him in practice. Coach Taylor set the boy up, right? Because I couldn't fight the guy. So he's like, I'm going to get him in practice. We're going to handle it at practice. Coach Taylor was not only a coach, but he was a real good friend of mine. And it's hard to call him a friend because I was in school. But he really had a lot of respect for me because he knew my parents. He knew my father worked hard, knew my mom worked hard. So he didn't want to see me get in kind of trouble. So he was like a little guardian angel, always making sure I made the right decision. So we had practice. This Joe ain't never hit the field. Ain't never hit the field. Now all of a sudden he had practice. And coach let him come in on defense. And I'm playing running back. And we calling these plays out, right? All the plays they calling is going straight to his side. I get a chance to one-on-one with him during practice. I'm lowering my shirt. I'm blasting this joke. I'm talking about beating him down with these pads and his helmet, bro. I'm like, pow, pow, pow. Kept calling. I said, keep giving me the ball. Keep giving me the ball. Keep giving me the ball. And after like maybe 6-7 plays in a row, the whole team was just seeing how I'm just demolishing this guy. Then he looks to the sideline and say, can I get some relief? And the coach like, nah, stay in, because this is the only playing time you're going to ever get. So you told me you wanted to play, so let's play. But the thing about it, Coach Taylor was the defensive coach. He played defense. So Coach Taylor put him in. And I think they had some kind of nod. The offensive coach and defense coach was kind of like communicating back and forth. Boom, okay. And like, hey, gave me opportunity to do what I need to do. And I will just say this. After that particular practice, he didn't bother me again. But he became the equipment manager after that. He became the equipment manager after that. He never stepped on the on the field again, and I never heard from him after that. He was always be at practice. He avoided me at all costs. Never talked to me after that. Never wanted no piece of me after that. And that was kind of like the last. That was the last time in school that I had been. That I had to even deal with, and I call it a form of bullying, because a person don't fight, a person trying to walk the straight and narrow, a person, just not that kind of aggressive, and you start messing with them, that's a form of bullying. So that was in 11th grade. 12th grade, I got into an incident that was non-school related. I worked a job since I was 14 years old. At IHOP in Biloxi, Mississippi. I started out as a bus boy, 14, and I worked my way from bus boy to dishwasher, and then from dishwasher to prep cook. And I never got a chance to become a cook, because by that time I graduated high school and went to the Marine Corps, right? But so my 11th grade year, I was still a dishwasher at that time. I would go to work on the weekends during school season. I'll go to work on Saturday and Sunday and do my time. It was this guy in the kitchen by the name of Andy. The only guy I know Andy is off of Shawshank. Andy Dufresne. The only guy in Shawshank that swam through 500 yards of shit to come out clean on the other side. Andy Dufresne. Anyway, the guy name was Andy. That's my Morgan Freeman impression, y'all. Andy Dufresne. I remember when I was at work one weekend, and this guy, he was a white guy, and back in the day, the white guys that wanted to be down and hip and cool, they wanted to be, referred to as niggers. They was white, so we called them wiggers, white niggers. So he was a wigger. He had dread, he had braids in his head, and he was like always talking in slang. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? What's up? What's up? What's up? You know what I'm saying? And I remember I was at work, and he just kept bothering me, man. Hey, man, leave me alone. Other cooks, Marcus Clark, Vince, I forgot Vince's last name, Jason Lovett, all these boys from Gulfport. If y'all watching the show, hats off to you all for helping. These guys had a whole lot to do with helping me get into manhood, because they was like, kind of, how they say the streets raise you a certain style. My dad was a minister, so a lot of things about life he didn't, talk to me about it. Had to learn from these guys at work, because they was older than me. They was like, if I was 17 years old, they was like 26 and 27 years old working at IHOP. And so this guy was bothering me at work. So I'm now being bullied at work. The boss say, hey, man, believe so another story. This is what they call me D Nice at work. D Nice. And Marcus Clark say D Nice. Ladies love him, girls adore him. I'm talking about the ones that don't even know him. He would always say that every time he say, "Nice, what's up, Nice? What's up, Nice?" That's D Nice right there, y'all. That's D Nice. He played football. I'm proud of this guy. So he's, "Hey man, you better leave Nice alone, man. Nice, hey, you heard about Nice? He got these hands. Oh man, F that dude, man. He ain't gonna do nothing." Like, man, leave me alone. But so we had two owners of the restaurant, Mike Conley and Fred Conley. They were brothers. They was from Iran or somewhere over there. Iran or I don't know, one of them places over there. And so Mike was the serious one. He was the owner. Fred was the cool, laid-back one. He was the manager, and he had a long ponytail. "Hey man, buddy, what's going on, guy? You okay, guy? Hey, buddy, guy." That's how he talk. Hey, Daniel, you okay? You okay, buddy? Okay, all right. So he had this rule of thumb that if he had any issues at work, he unlocked the back door. That's it. Unlock the back door, and you go outside the back door, handle your problems. But at the end of the day, you go back to work, and it's supposed to be squashed after you did. You squash. "Hey, you guys got a problem? I go open the back door. No more problem. Go back to work. Okay, guy? Okay, buddy. You got it. Okay, Fred." So I always liked when Fred worked, because Fred was, kind of lenient. Mike was, pinching pennies and more, make sure everybody, you check the trash can. Make sure you don't weigh no food and stuff like that. He was always like that, and I understand now as a business owner why he was like that, but I'm 17. I don't know nothing about running a business, so I just thought he would just, always just anal, but he was just always, he protected his business. He got to. So this one particular day, it was about 1997, maybe 98. Andy Dufresne came to work, man, bothered me, man. And I was washing dishes, man. I just threw my rag down and said, "Hey, man, hey, Fred, man. Open the back door, bruh." Now, understand, I haven't been able to really use these hands because from the first time to now, either I was turning the other cheek or somebody was fighting for me, or it was just always they were snatching me up and I wasn't able to. But now I'm getting sick and tired of being sick and tired. I ain't finna be bullied no more. So I'm finna get rid of this bully once and for all. Told Fred, open the back door. I'll go outside with it. I take my apron off, go outside with this guy. Say, "Hey man, come on, let's get it done." We get outside and he's walking in circles like, "Yeah," trying to pump himself up. Yeah, and I'm just looking at him like Mike Tyson sizing up one of his opponents before he go to war. Looking at him like Mike Tyson doing the side to side rock, and he just going in circles. I'm looking at him side to side. All of a sudden, he talks himself with enough courage to come at me, and as soon as he made a move toward me, I jumped on him like a lion on a gazelle and started beating the brakes off this boy. I hit this joker so many times. He thought he was surrounded. I hit him so many times, and he ended up falling down. And you already know in a fight, number one rule: don't fall down. When you fall down, you're subject to get stomped. Fell down. I kicked him a couple times, got on top of him, and was literally just punching him in his face. His head was hitting the ground. I grabbed the back of his head with one hand. In the other hand, I was just hitting him. I caught his teeth. He had gold teeth in his mouth. I snatched one of his braids out of his head, and I was just beating him. I'm talking about, I really felt sorry for him, because at one point I had to stop because I was going to kill him. They came out the back door, buddy, oh, Daniel, oh, what's going on, buddy? Hey. Fred grabbed me, Marcus grabbed me, they all grabbed me up off of him, and I was just like, "Man, I told you to leave me alone. I'm sick of you messing with me." And that was built up from 7th grade that I done had a chance to finally get my rocks off, and it was so funny because after I did all that, it was customers still coming in the restaurant on this in the front, and we was out back by the dumpster, and I was beating this dude down on the ground, and his blood in his mouth, and my hand swelled up because I hit him on the teeth. So after I get up off of him, he gets off the ground, and dusted himself off and said, yeah, you know what I'm saying? It was a pretty even fight, man, but I held my own. So we go back in the work. He's all right now. Is everything good? Everything squashed? Buddy, you good? Everything's good? You good? Okay. Hey, look, you go back to work and no more problem, okay? No more problem. Daniel, go back to work. Get the dishes done. Hey, go in there and make all these omelets. Go make the omelets right now. So he reminded me of the guy on Holy Moly Dollop Shop on next Friday. So we go back in the building and I'm trying to wash dishes. So we go back into the building and I'm trying to wash the dishes at first, and then my hand is hurting me real bad because it's swollen. And I got a tooth mark on my knuckle from what I hit him at, and my hand is really, really swollen. So I'm like trying to find a way to get it done, and I just couldn't wash. So I maybe try to get some ice. So I went to the ice machine. I go to the ice machine, and I had like this not a bucket, but like a pan they tenderize the meat in. I had that pan, and I put ice in it, and so I got my hand inside that ice bucket, trying to the ice pan, trying to make the swelling go down, and so I had to have a rag wrapped around my hand and everything, and I just couldn't keep up with the flow because my hand hurt me. Man, maybe I shouldn't have done that because now I can't even work. My hand hurt me real bad. He's in the kitchen cooking. He got braids missing out of the back of his head. His mouth is all busted up, but he's out there. He's in cooking. They in there laughing at him. Ha ha ha! I told you D-Nice was gonna f you up, boy. You shouldn't have never did that. That boy, he played football. He lift weights and blah blah blah. I told you about. Oh man, you know. And he started talking stuff. He said, "Hey, go tell him that." No, I'm cool. So I'm trying to get my job done, and I ended up making it through the day. Obviously, I'm here right now. I made it through the day. Went home that evening, and I told my daddy that I got into a fight at work, and he was mad. What happened? I said, man, this dude's been bothering me for a long time, man. I told him to leave me alone, and I just couldn't take no more. And the manager opened the back door, and we handled our business, blah, blah, blah. And, I don't think I'm going to have this problem anymore. He was like, always try to avoid, confrontation. And I'm telling him, yeah, I've been trying to avoid confrontation since I was in 7th grade, bro. I done turned the other cheek. I don't let folks spit on me. I don't let folks, slap me and all this kind of stuff. I don't let girls beat me up and stuff. When is enough? So I just had enough, and I ended up, gaining some respect. But that was the last time that I ever had to resort to violence. 18 years old. And after that, a year later, I joined the United States Marine Corps, and the rest is history. So that's my story for the night of how I was bullied as a kid and how I was able to gain the respect of my classmates and my peers and my co-workers by standing up for myself. So the message tonight is simply, bullying is real. If you have somebody that's being bullied, you definitely want to talk to them, because the people that don't handle these type of bullies end up going into schools and shooting up the schools. They end up going and blowing up places. They end up going to parades and shooting people and killing people because they have not properly dealt with their bully, or they have not properly dealt with the mental health that they got going on. These people also become police officers, and they end up, bullying people in the streets or harassing because they was bullied in school and they haven't had a chance to deal with being bullied. And when they get a bit of authority, they actually end up using their authority to, as a way to bully people and things like that. So if you're being bullied, get some help. Find somebody that can help you work through your situation. Mental health is real, or you got to make sure mentally you're able to survive some of the different things, because this life is so funny. You can go to sleep on top of the world and wake up with the world on top of you. And so if you're dealing with something, get some help, because you don't want to be that person that that hurts more people because you're being hurt, because we all know that hurt people hurt people. This your boy, Daniel Lyonton Evans. We all know that hurt people hurt people. Hurt people hurt people. This is your boy, Daniel Lyonton Evans, and this has been Storytime Inside the Den. Real quick before I leave, I am rocking one of the Inside the Den t-shirts and some of my Lions Pride apparel. I wanted to remind you all about commenting, like, and subscribe to the show. And while you comment on the show, give us some feedback on the show. Give me a story you want me to tell for your chance to enter into a drawing to win a chance to get your very own Lions Pride apparel outfit. And so we will be talking about the stuff on the up and coming shows. So if you're watching right now, look, support the brand, support the movement. Inside the Den, Story Time with Daniel Lyons Evans. Peace and blessings. See you next time. Have a good night.
I know you thought you knew me, but I